If you design websites with Divi 5, you are going to love this Divi 5 design system. All right, so right now I have it installed. And if I go to check updates, you're going to notice that we have a brand new update. This is now version 3.0, and I'm super excited to talk about all the updates that we have. So what you want to do, if you have already this installed, you want to go up over here to update now. So once you click on update now, it is going to automatically update and get you to the latest version. And if you've already added your licensing key, you don't have to do it again. All right, so now that we have it installed, what you want to do is to head over here to Crafter Pro. Okay, so if you click on that, you're going to get on the main dashboard. Now, on the surface, it may look like there isn't much going on here, right? But trust me, there is a lot going on. We have a brand new brand view. We also have an interactive style guide, and I can't wait to show you that. But first of all, you're going to notice something very interesting here. You now have one area here where you can drop your design system. Okay, before we used to have two areas, but now the system is more intelligent. It can download two systems in one go. So right now, you can see here that we don't have any colors or any variables. So there's one way to get these downloaded. What you want to do is to head over here to downloads. So now you're going to notice that we have Design System 3.0. So for those of you that are worried about, okay, what version am I on? This is one of the updates. Now, if there's any updates to the design system, you're going to have version 3.0.1.2, whatever going on. All right, so let's go ahead and download it. So I'm going to click here to download. Okay, so now it's downloaded and I can see it over here. The next thing I want to do now is to install it. Okay, so installing it is very easy. All you want to do is to come over here to import. Now, what's happening here is it's going to import the complete design system, the presets, and also the variables. So if you take a look over here on the top, we have 6 colors and total variables 6 and 2 presets. All right, so now I'm going to drag and drop my file, which is right here. Okay, this is the file. So I'm going to drag and drop it here. Now, notice what happens. It's telling me here that it's detected variables and presets. So now it is a smart system. If I am to drag and drop just a variables file, it's gonna know. All right, so let me show you that. So again, I'm gonna look for 2 files here. So here I have the presets and variables, okay? So what I'm going to do is to drag the presets first, okay? So I'm just going to take over this to the other side and then drag the presets in here. Now notice what happens. It says variables and presets. Do you know why it says that? It says that because all the presets have been designed using the variables, so it's detecting both. So let's cancel this and let's see what happens when we drop in the variables file only. So over here, if I go in and drag the variables, it is going to detect that this has variables. How cool is that? All right. Now, there's also one other thing that I need to mention. So while you're importing, there is also another way to import, and that is if you want to replace everything, you can leave this on a replace, or if you want to merge, that means that your existing presets or variables are going to stay on, and the ones that you're going to add on are just going to be an addition to what you already have, which is pretty cool. So now let's drag and drop our file one more time, the 3.0. All right, so now that I have this, I want to make sure that I bring it to replace. And then over here, you can also decide if you want to import just the variables, and then you can uncheck the presets, okay? But in this case, I want to add everything. So I'm going to say preview import. So now I have everything here in the preview. So it's telling me here, I've got colors. You can see my neutral colors, semantic colors, all these other color variations, they're all added on, and the spacing system is there. If there's something I don't need, I can just go ahead and uncheck it, all right? But in this case, I want everything that is here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to confirm and import, just like that. And then I'm going to say confirm. So now everything has updated. You see that 98 colors, 146 variables, 237, and so on. So that means now my site has all the ingredients that I need in order for me to start designing my website. Now let's take a look and see what that looks like. So I'm going to go and add a page. So this page is going to be designed using Divi. So I'm just going to call this Divi and then use Divi Builder. All right. So now I want to see how those variables and all those really cool stuff are going to work for me. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, and then I'm going to add, let's say 2 columns or 1 column. And in that column, I want to add some text, and then I'm going to add a heading, and I may also need to add another column. And in this column, I'm going to add a blurb like that. So most people that don't have a design system are going to have Divi that looks out of the box like this. And this is where the challenging part is. If you don't have your variables and you don't have your presets, basically you are going to be designing everything from scratch, including all these elements I have on the page. For example, in this paragraph text, you would need to go in here, go to the design, and then go into text, and then start playing around with the size over here. But you don't want to do that, okay? Because now we have a proper design system. So let's take a look over here. So this is our variable manager, and just to confirm, we have all our colors. This is a list of all our colors here, right? And if we collapse this and then we go to our numbers, this is where we have all our sizes, our spacing, radius, pretty much everything that we need. Okay, great. So what does that mean? Now, if I select my heading here, I can go into my design tab, click over here on assign presets, and then I can choose what heading I want. So if I want the size that correlates to H1, I can just do that. If I come over here to the paragraph text, I can just go in and choose my paragraph text, come over here, and you can choose it manually over here on body text, but we've made things very easy. You can just come over here and choose body, just like that. Over here on this blurb, you select it, and then you come over here to the top, and then you say K blurb primary or just a normal K blurb. So let's say you want to arrange this in a nice way. If you duplicate it twice, you can go in here on the rows, you go to content, you go to elements, and now on the column, once you select that, you can go over here to the top and then say you want auto grid. Now, do you see how everything comes together? Now, you may be saying, well, is this the right size? Well, let me just show you something quickly. If I go in here and I go into this blurb design, you're going to notice that all my sizes are clamp values. Do you see that? And you may be asking, why did I do auto grid? Well, I did auto grid because this is responsive out of the box. Look at that. I don't need to mess around with, oh, I need to make specific values for this screen size and so on. No, everything is auto. Okay. Now let's talk about the spacing on our section here. If I come over here, I can go to my section and then I can set it to large if I want, or I can even go and say extra large. So that's the padding around. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, which is very, very important, is color. A lot of us struggle with color. Now, we have a brand new system over here. And this system, I'm pretty sure you're going to love this. If I go to style guide, you're going to notice that this is a live style guide. Everywhere on the internet where you go, when you see style guides, you'll see a static style guide. Over here, this is a style guide which is syncing with our variables. So if you look at this, all these colors are on our variables. You can see here, this is my actual text, the actual size, and these are a visual representation of how things are going to look on your website. Look at this. This is our text large. This is our regular body. This is our small. This is our spacing scale, the radius, and these are the buttons on the actual system. These are the shadows. And if I come over here to best practices, it gives you quick ideas on what to do and what not to do. For example, putting two primary colors together, they're competing, right? So you got to make sure that you change the color here, add a ghost or something, or an outline, right? And section title, you see here is telling you how things need to be sorted out. You see on the card spacing here, this is the right way to do it. And we have a spacing scale and so on. Look at the radius, right? So these quick best practices are pretty cool, but you are going to love this. Contrast is one of the most confusing things when we design, and it's definitely very, very frustrating. Now, Crafter Pro has the contrast ratio. This contrast ratio gives you a mark. So basically all our colors here have passed. Can you see here? Our colors have passed. Everything is cool except over here. the border default on white and border strong on white and the secondary button. Okay, so this is where we have a challenge. So the idea here is when we work on our website, we need to make sure that everything checks out, or if it's at least very, very close, we can just go and ignore it. So for example, here we're on 261, okay? It's not too bad. It just says it failed, but 261, we need to be at 301. It's not a big difference. We can actually pass it. And if you want to do that, you can just go and say ignore fails. And pretty much now we have a 21 out of 21 pass. Okay. Very, very important. Now, I really want to show you that this is live. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and open up a new page. In fact, let's just go on this page here. If we go over here to our variable manager and go into our colors, let's say we want to change our brand color. If I go in, change it to something like that and save, apply changes. If I come over here now, do you see that the colors have just changed? The primary color has changed. Maybe that happened too fast. Let me change it one more time. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's change this to, let's change this to a very light color so you can see why this wouldn't work. So I'm going to bring it very close to a very light color here as my main primary color. I'm going to go ahead and save and apply changes. Now you're going to notice that we are going to have a lot of errors. Now, did you see this change? Now we have a lot of things failing. Do you see that I have 11 out of 21 failing? That is because our color now is going to be applied across so many things. So our link on subtle background, our link on white, over here, link on muted background, and our primary button, you see that definitely is going to fail. You see that? It's definitely going to fail because the colors are very close together. So you need to make sure that you choose your colors correctly. I mean, look at this. They're very, very similar. All right. So that means this wouldn't work. So when it comes to choosing your colors correctly, it's very, very important that you choose colors that work. Now, I want to show you the next feature, and this is the brand review. This is, again, is a brand new feature. If you look at this, this gives you a representation of what a basic design would look like before you start deciding what colors to use. Now, remember, I mentioned that things failed over here on the other tab. Now, do you see how this button wouldn't work? Now it's showing you visually why it wouldn't work. And I'm sure you can agree, even the icons, look at that. I mean, these icons surely cannot work, right? So we need to make sure that the colors we're going to use are colors that are going to work correctly. But if I go on the secondary one, again, it's not a very good color because Divi is choosing our opposite color for us. So let's go ahead and change this. So if I come back over here and go to my primary color, I want something a bit more solid, right? But I want to go with this green, okay? So I'm going to say that's going to be my brand color, right? And I'm going to say save variables. Now and apply. Now you're going to notice that we are going to pass this time. So if I go back over here, did you see that things have changed? Our icons look much better now. And this is just a preview. This is a brand preview, right? So I'm really excited about this feature. So over here, you can choose and flip between different uses of color. So if I go to primary, do you see that? Our button works now, but is that really true? Let's go to our style guide. So you'll see that a few things have failed now, but of course I can always go in and fix them. So links on white, we're not too far off. I mean, we are 321, we need to be at 451, okay? So at least things are much better. And you can also have a visual view of this on the brand view. So if I come over here, I can see how things look, the icons and everything. So if I go to the muted background, I can see it's a slight grayish. So that looks okay. I can go on the inverse, right? Look at that. The icons are looking great. The colors are looking great. And I can also choose the secondary color here. But you see, with the secondary, things are a bit different. This doesn't look great. So again, this is where you get to tweak your colors before you start using them when you start designing your website. Okay, so let's go back over here. And over here, we also have common mistakes. So if you're a new designer, this also shows you where you can make mistakes. So if I select that, you can see that this is not how you want to build. Look, we have this green here. We have the icon there. You know, we have too much green. We follow what is known as a 60-30-10 rule. So if I go back to best practice, you can see here it's telling us that this is the 60, which is the dark version here. The 10 here is the call to actions. And then the 30 here is the brand color or the shade of the brand. And it's quite clear if I come over here on the light version. You see that? So that is one of our features. All right. So if we come over here to our site and let's save our variables, click on apply and let's get out of here. Let's say you want to start designing, right? If I choose my background, notice how easy it is to choose my background color. I'm going to select here my section like that. And then I want to go to content. So now if I go to background and you see, I have all my background colors already set for me. I don't have to go into the color picker. Everything is done for me in the design system. So let's say I choose background primary, boom, just like that, right? So you may be thinking, well, how do I know what color to use over here? Well, if I go in and choose my text color here, I go to design and then go into the actual text. On my text color here, this is the default. If I go on my text color here, I am going to say text on, and this is really cool. Now it says text on primary. Do you see that? Let me open it up a bit more. So it's almost like designing and speaking. Right, let's go back to our color here. So I'm going to search for text on because that's what I want to do, right? We have text on primary. Boom. Let's say I have a secondary color here. Let's go back to our section and then we're going to change this. We're going to go to secondary. All right. And again, if I choose my heading here, design, go into my heading. If I go to my color here, I can search for text on secondary. And now I have perfect contrast. You don't have to guess or go in and start playing around with the, let's go in here. Let me show you what I mean. Now, if you're an amateur designer, you'll be coming here, dragging this and then looking here to see if everything is working okay. You know, no. There's no need for that because everything is labeled for you, right? Everything is labeled for you. Even if I choose a muted background. So let's go ahead and go to background muted, that, okay? Now, if I go to my heading, design, heading text. So obviously my text here is not readable, right? So I'm going to go in and then I'm going to say text on muted. Do you see how that works? I'm going to do this for the paragraph text as well. Go into my text and then I'm going to say text on. I'll just search for text on, dash on, like that. And you can see text on primary, text on secondary. But you know, it is really cool. If I just say text, then here I have text on secondary, text muted. You see that? Pretty cool. So this is how you want to design. And when you design using this workflow, everything is going to definitely work out of the box. And there's more things I can talk about here. I can go in here, for example, on this module, and then I'm going to go to, let's say I want to add a border, right? I'm going to come over here and I have my presets here if I need to. So I can go in and say border small. So I got it there. I can go in and then I can choose my width here if I want to, and I can search. So you see here we have border extra small. There we go. So now it's gone to 1 pixel. And over here, if I want to go for my radius, I can go for radius medium. I can go for radius large. So everything is there for me. I mean, you see that? So it is very, very easy for me to go in and choose exactly what I want because all the numbers are all matched. Everything is all matched. So this again, this brand preview, is also syncing with my colors over here in the design system. So for example, let's go back again. So this time we're going to change this to, let's change this to something like that. Bring it over here. I'm going to save, apply. Now, if I come back over here to my preview, you can see here, everything is instant, right? So this gives me an idea of how things are going to look before I start designing, which is very, very important because you don't want to spend too much time in the design and then tweaking each and every item before you even get your colors correct. So this is what makes this very, very awesome. So now let me show you something else that's really important as well. So I'm going to save this and let's do a preview on front end. Okay. So with this preview on front end, you notice that we don't have a header here that is styled. We don't even have a footer, right? And we don't even have a 404 page. And I'll prove to you that we don't have it, okay? So if I add some gibberish here, hit enter, you'll notice that I don't even have a 404 page. And my search results page is not there either. So let's say I search for Divi, right? You can see we have a sample page. The search results page is not there. It's non-existent. But this is not how we want to design our website, is it? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our design system. We're going to go to downloads. All right. This time we're going to come over here to the theme builder. So I'm going to click on download. Okay. So my theme builder now has been downloaded. The next thing I want to do now is to install it. So I'm going to come back, go to import, but this time I'm going to scroll further down. Now we have the theme builder over here, right? So we're just going to drag, drop it over here. Okay. Import theme builder imported. We're good. So to prove that is there, I'm going to come over here to Divi, theme builder, and now we have all this. Next, I want to talk about something that is very, very important. Now, as you know, as designers in Divi 5, we use presets as our workflow. Okay, it's similar to how other page builders use CSS classes. So Divi has its own proprietary way of creating all these components and tokens, and they're all in the presets. So let's say I go in here and I start creating my own presets. What happens if I need to export them? Well, that's what I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to come over here to text, right? So, I mean, there's so many of these here, right? So I'm going to say new preset from current styles. Boom. And these presets, I'm going to give them names. So here I'm going to call this Mac text. Okay. So let's say this is a brand new one. I come over here and I'm going to exaggerate this. Okay. I'm going to go into my text here and make it about 600. Okay. And then save preset. All right. And that's Mac text. Get rid of that. Now let's create something else. So let's say for the heading here, for K heading 1, I'm going to go in and duplicate this. Okay. And instead of saying K heading 1, I'm going to say Mac heading 1. And this is the beauty of Crafter Pro. You can go in and add your own design system, you know, on top of the existing design system. And you'll still benefit from this because it makes the exporting of these very, very easy. So now I have a heading and a paragraph text style or preset, sorry. So Divi only allows you to come over here and export variables, and you export everything. But sometimes you don't want to export everything, right? And even here on the presets, the only option you have is to export all the presets. But you see, Crafter Pro is very smart. Let me show you how. So now that I've created those two, I'm going to go back. Oops. Okay, let's go back to Crafter Pro. And what we're going to do now is to prepare to export. So I'm going to come over here on export. So while I'm on export here, I can choose what I need to export. So let's say I want to export just the colors. I can go in and say colors, and only colors are selected. You see that? Only colors are selected. So when I hit export, it's 146 variables out of 239, and I can just hit download over here. All right, I can reset the selection, and back over here, I can also say none, and then that gets rid of everything. Okay, let's say I want to export just the fonts. I can go in and say all, and then it chooses the fonts. Or maybe it's the spacing scale. I can just say all or none, right? And you can see this blue dot actually shows us what is going on here. Next, I can just clear everything. And I could say, you know what? I want the full bundle. That will just export everything, right? I can also exclude certain things. I can exclude all, and then just that gets rid of everything. I can export presets only by coming over here. I can export variables only, and then specify which variables I need to export, right? Now, I want to show you something really cool here. So let's reset this, okay? So if I come over here and search, let's say I want to search for Mac. If I hit enter, did I save this page? Let me save. Okay. I can search for my variables here. I can hit search, and where are they? Let's clear the filter here. Okay, as you can see what happened here, I didn't save my variables. But if you want to search, you can search for example, text. And if you hit search, this will show you 12 out of 453 match your filter. And then if I go down here, you can see that my text has been selected here. So I wonder why Mac is not showing, because I set those. Okay, so no results are showing. I think it hasn't synced properly. All right. Now, let's say you want to reset everything, get rid of everything except certain variables. You can come over here to reset. So now let's search for Mac. There we go. So here we have Mac H1 and Mac text. So I can delete everything here and just leave these two. I can also search for blurb like that. Okay, let's remove that. And let's say K-blurb. Okay, so we have all our blurbs here. Do you see that? And they're all separated. So all these are my blurbs. And then all these are my matching presets. So now I can go ahead and delete these variables, and then this will exclude all these, right? So if we take a look here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and delete variables and colors. And then all I have to do is say delete everything. Okay. And then I can delete over here like that. And then this deletes everything. Okay. So now if I come over here to the top, you can see we have 11 presets, and these are the presets 2, 4, 6, 8. And then the default ones are also there. Okay. So definitely these are on the system. So if I go in now and refresh this, do you see that everything resets? But if I go into my text here, Mac text is there. It has been saved. And if I come over here to my heading, I can go to, in fact, Mac H1 is there as well. So this is a very, very powerful system to manage all your presets and all your variables. Now, if I come over here to rollback, I can go in and roll back to how things were before. So this could be maybe the snapshot that was saved. I can go back to this one and this will roll back. You can see now I have all my presets back in, and I also have other snapshots. So this one here has all my variables. You can see there the date, the time and everything. I can roll back to that one. And now I have all my colors, all my variables and so on. So that's how easy it is to use. Now, the next thing I want to show you as well is, let's refresh this. And everything now is back to normal. But you're going to notice that our text here has not updated. So if you want to change your fonts, you can just come over here. And let's say you want to use Manrope. There we go. I'm going to use that and pop-ins for my body text and say save. Apply changes. And then if I do a hard refresh, you can see here my text has updated and everything is back to normal. So this is how you can use Krafter Pro. Now, there's also another feature here, which is coming very, very soon, and that is your starter sites. So here we're going to have all the starter sites. I'm just looking for the best way to package all the starter sites so it's easy to install. And ideally, I want to install them from here. Just clicking a button and then it installs the starter site. How cool will that be, right? So these are all features coming to Krafter Pro. I'm super excited about this update, and if there's any bugs, you can report them in the community. And also, there are different pricing options now. There's also Krafter Pro Solo, where you can have a license for 3 websites, and then you have unlimited yearly, and you also have a lifetime. The link to all of that is in the video description below. This is available right now, so go ahead and check it out. Thank you for watching.